Hey everyone, it's Angie, and I'm back with another cemetery tour. Not exactly. Today we're going to do an Ask Me Anything video. Recently I put a request out on Instagram and YouTube for some questions, and you wonderful people actually sent me some, which is amazing, so thank you so much. So today I'm just going to record a little short video on those answers. So yeah, let's just get started. So because I'm old and I have all my answers or all my questions on my phone, which I'm using to film, I have my trusty piece of paper here that has the questions on it. So we're just gonna get started and see what we can do here. So the first one is, how do you choose cemeteries? This is kind of funny because I'm on a quest for 1,000. So that's the whole purpose of this channel. It's the 1,000 Cemeteries project. I am on a quest to explore 1,000 cemeteries, which means I cannot be fussy. I'm going to all of the cemeteries. Wherever I go, I want to stop, I want to see a cemetery, I want to explore. I'm up to 146 right now, which is a lot of cemeteries, but still a long way to go. I realize that, but yeah, when you're just on a quest for numbers, you don't really have a chance to be fussy. You just want to see them all. So I try to pick ones that are obviously easily accessible in my neighborhood, in my area, in my city, and then after that, whenever I go on trips somewhere, I'm always hitting up cemeteries. So I'm not particularly fussy, but when it comes to filming cemeteries, that's a different story. So not every cemetery is that interesting to watch on a video. Oftentimes I'll record them and then I won't use them because I'm like, oh, there's not a lot to see, especially cemeteries where most of the headstones are just the flat ones. They're just on the ground. There's not a whole lot. They all look the same. They don't have that history there that I absolutely love. Give me a headstone that's crumbling, you know, with moss growing on it. Those are the best. So those are the ones I tend to film. Anything that has some, historical interest. I always try to research cemeteries, which is sometimes really difficult. I live in Canada on the prairies, and there are literally cemeteries everywhere. And some of them are just, there's no information online on them. So it's just a few headstones here and there, but I do my best, so I try to. So yeah, any cemetery I can get to, I'm going to, but the ones that I film, that just depends on whether or not they interest me personally, and they have some history. So that was a really good question. The next question is, would you ever consider making videos exploring more old abandoned churches? Now this is something I never thought about doing. I'm not really sure why. I guess because I'm so focused on the cemetery portion. There have been churches that I've gone, or cemeteries that I've gone to that have had churches. Some of them are still operational, and some of them aren't. I've never even checked to see if I could get into most of them, which is kind of interesting that I haven't. There is one cemetery in particular that I really want to go back to and film. This was one that I had visited prior to me recording my videos. So it's got a really nice little church on it, and I have been in it, and so yeah, I'd like to go back and do that one. But I'm definitely open to that, and if there's an interest for people to see those churches, I will 100% keep that in mind for my future videos and include that in. So thank you very much for bringing that to my attention. All right, next question. What countries do you think might have the most interesting cemeteries? All right, so I have a list of cemeteries that I would love to go to. In fact, I'm thinking of recording a video about my top 5 right now. But in general, I think because Canada is a relatively baby country, we're not that old. I mean, we are, but our cemeteries are not particularly old. I think all the ones in Europe and Asia would be very interesting to go to, mostly just because of the history. I'm a huge history buff, in particular in Anglophile, so I do love going to the cemeteries in England and Scotland, which I have been to. Sadly, they were all before I started recording, and so I have pictures, but I don't have any videos, so I would love to go back. We're gonna do that in another video, another time. We're gonna talk about the ones that I'd love to revisit. But in general, any country that has been established for a long period of time, I think would have the most beautiful cemeteries. There is one in Romania that I think would be really cool. I can't remember the name of the cemetery. I will look it up and I will put it here. And their headstones are all beautiful, colored, homemade and everything, like handmade. Anyways, we'll save that for another time. Pretty much the short answer is Europe and Asia. So thank you for that question. All right, the next question is, how did you first discover the magic in cemeteries? This one is an interesting question because I don't really think that there was a particular moment where that came on a conscious level. I think I was already going to cemeteries before I realized what it was that was drawing me to it. Back in 2014, I read a book called The Happiness of Pursuit, I think it's called. I will put that title here or down below. And it got me thinking about a quest and how as humans we love pursuing, sometimes pursuing the goal is more interesting than the goal. And I realized that I was already visiting a lot of cemeteries without even really thinking about it. So that's kind of how my quest came about. But the magic of cemeteries is, yeah, there's something about them. They're very peaceful. It allows you to step out of your everyday to-day, actions and just connect with nature. It's always a quiet spot. There's something sacred about it. And if you haven't been hanging out in cemeteries, which I'm assuming you do if you watch these videos, check it out. Like there is something there is a magic to it. Something that I have yet to really define or be able to verbalize, but I do think it was pretty early on for me, maybe even when I was a teenager, because I did spend more time going to cemeteries, which I don't know, is that normal? It's normal for me, but I also spend my weekends going to cemeteries, so I could not, I'm not necessarily the typical teenager spending weekends in cemeteries, but yeah, it's been a long time that I've been drawn to them. So there definitely is that magic, and if you haven't, like I said, go check it out because it's wonderful. All right, so the next question, our last question, is a book update. So for those of you who don't know, I'm an author and I published a book called The Reaper's Bride back in 2019. It's a fantasy novel that basically revolves around the Grim Reaper. So appropriate for me, right? Cemeteries. It is part of a series and I am working on book 2 very slowly. It's mostly done. It needs some good edits and I've been very slow about doing that, mostly because my day job involves me being in front of the computer all day, and editing involves being in front of the computer all day, and I just need a break from technology. Go out and check out my cemeteries is what I like to do also in my free time. So it's been slow going. It is on the radar, but I don't have a date on when that's going to be finished. But as soon as I do, I will definitely post and let you know. I know it's not the answer that people who have read the first book want to hear, because I get that question a lot, which I appreciate. That means a lot to me that you've read it and that you've enjoyed it enough to read the second book. So I do appreciate it. But right now there's no timeline on when that's going to be published. So for those of you that are interested, I will put the link below so you can check that book out. So yeah, so that's the questions for today. We're going to keep it nice and short, or hopefully you feel this is short and not super long. If you have any other questions and you're interested in me doing this again, just put the questions below in the comments and I can film another one of these at another time. Like I mentioned before, I'm going to be doing a few more videos like this until the weather warms up and I can go and explore more. It's winter here and cold. I mean, right now it's been kind of warm, but it's typically cold, and it's a lot more difficult to trudge my way through the snow to film. So I've done it before, but it's a lot harder to do, just with logistics, the camera freezing and all that stuff. So in the meantime, I'm going to film some videos like this where we just chat one-on-one, and yeah, hopefully you enjoy that. So and then once the weather warms up, we're gonna go back to exploring. This year I have 3 different trips planned. So there will be cemetery videos, cemetery tours from a bunch of different places. And I'm really looking forward to that because it's some new places I've never been. So we're It's gonna be a great time. But in the meantime, thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked it, please like and subscribe. It would be very helpful to me and my channel, obviously. And yeah, thank you so much.